complex in Nairobi. All those who spoke, remembering the late Chief of the Defense Force as a humble man who dedicated years of service to the country. I'll be joined by Roslyn Obala, the political editor at the Nation Media Group here. We shall also be crossing over to our colleagues, Zacchaeus Mosame, who will be with the convoy. We will also be crossing to Ouko Okusa, who is also helping us with this particular coverage today. But right now, I am joined by the Interior Principal Secretary, Raymond Omollo, who has been here since early morning. You could see him moving around just to ensure that this particular activity goes as planned. And of course, it is in coordination with military officers and with family members. And PS, thank you very much. You are live on NTV. Kindly come closer. And this is quite a heavy day for the country. Yeah, the loss and the burial of the Chief of the Defense Force. But also it is a celebration of a 40-year dedication to the country and a 61-year-old service. Even before you take us through the program today and what we expect in terms of the preparations that we have, perhaps you may want again to take this opportunity to condole with the family of the late Chief of the Defense Force, then get into what the program looks like.
Yes, so Ibrahim, it's a very sad day. At a personal level, this is a really, really personal loss to me, because the general was a very close friend and a colleague that we served with for the period that I've been the principal secretary in charge of internal security and national administration. And there are no words to honestly condole the general, particularly to his family. Yesterday we had a moment to just chat and talk to the father, the mother, the brothers, the sisters, and very close family relatives. And it was a very, very somber mood. And again, the people of Alego, the people of Siaya, the people of Nyanza, and the people of this nation have lost a real gentleman and a real general and a real professional at that. And there is no better way to honor this general than the simple celebration and ceremony that we'll be having today in this particular school. And the general will be remembered for many, many things, but most importantly was his humility and how he went about life. He was not fascinated by the big titles. He would just go about his business. And he was a straight talking general. On several occasions we would get to have our conversations within the security teams, and he would shoot straight with a very clear mind in terms of what he felt and thought needed to be done. On the fateful day, I remember us communicating at around 10 in the morning, and hours later, I couldn't believe it. But it's a way of life that all of us have to go through. And to the wife, the son, the daughter, and the rest of the family, we can only say pole. And we appreciate you for having allowed and given General Ogolla to this country to serve. So Ibrahim, with regards to the program today, as you've mentioned, the general wanted to be interred within 72 hours of his passing. And the program for today, we expect it to end at around 1 p.m. so that then we will proceed to the graveside where his final resting place is. And he was very, very precise with how he wanted to be buried, even to the point of letting the family know the exact location of where his body would be buried. So everything is in place, as you can see, and the body is airborne to land in Kisumu, and then it will be driven all the way to this place. We expect a number of dignitaries. Some of them have already landed and on their way to this place. the president would be leading this celebration. Now, being a military man, and not just from that training, he was the head of the military. So the military takes responsibility for the program. Of course, there's been a need to take care of the family interests and the wishes of the general, and also the church, because he was a staunch Christian. And actually today he was meant to consecrate a church that he had put together for his community. So you'll see a lot of that, but primarily we would want to keep it simple in honor of the general, because that is what he wanted. Thank you.
Well, Pierce, you're mentioning that this will largely be conducted by the military, but you've also said that you've taken into consideration the wishes of the family and also the wishes of the late Chief of Defense Force, General Ogolla. So what do we expect to the detail in terms of what is the family's wish? Because yesterday, they said, actually, the speech by Raila Odinga said that this is the actual African way of burying. So what is it that we are going to see that is a wish from the family? What is it that we are going to see aside from the burial within 72 hours that is a wish of General Ogolla? Then, of course, I will not let you speak about the military part because, again, of the jurisdictions, but speak to us about the family's wish and General Ogolla's wish.
I think General Ogolla's wish was that he be buried like an ordinary person, with away or minus all the pomp and color that ordinarily would go with it. Traditionally, the Luo have their way of mourning. It will be a whole celebration, and if it was the Luo way of burying someone in the rank of the general, would be mourning for weeks or for days before we finally lay one of our own to rest. That is not going to happen, because we are doing it within 72 hours as an honor to his wish, how we would want it done. Now, for the family, they were very close, and they would consult, and they would talk, and they would discuss, and they want to do exactly what he wished for. Yes, and even in terms of where he's going to be buried, again, it will just be very close family members. Yes, so those are some of the wishes of the general and also of the family. The other thing was ordinarily you'd expect a lot of political conversations and discourses. That is not going to happen, again, according to the wishes of the family and the general himself. Yes.
Walk us through the security preparation, and even as the body lands in at the Kisumu airport, and we have that last convoy to this particular place. Do we expect, and what, as the Interior PS, what would you advise Kenyans in terms of, do we expect an interruption of the free flow of traffic? What other interruptions would we expect even as the activities go on in this particular region today?
So, Ibrahim, we expect minimal interruptions with regards to the flow of traffic because our security teams and the family and the military have had detailed plans and preparations. There have been several meetings going on up to late last night. We were here yesterday. So it will just be basically, of course, traffic clearance for the body from the Kisumu airport all the way to the homestead. And because we expect a lot of dignitaries, the operational order was well drawn to take care of the flow movement of traffic and also of the public into this particular school. The traffic marshals are outside the school compound and by the roadside where you deviate to get into the school. So there's a lot of that in place. We are appealing and urging the public to listen to those instructions and respect those instructions. And when we will restrict, for example, the movement of vehicles into specific locations, we appeal that the public needs to understand and appreciate that, because we would want this to be as flawless as possible. Now, we want to have everybody seated by 9 a.m. so that then we're able to start the program on time. So there are several checks that people have to go through, the security screening, which is normal for a function of this particular nature. And just the comfort that we must give all of us who have come to mourn and bury the general is that we've made all the arrangements to make sure that this flows well, up to the point when the body will be interred. After the service in this school, only very few people would be allowed to go to the graveside, and that is just the close family members and very close colleagues that he worked with or that he served with, both in the military and in government.
All right. You have spoken about the preparations and the plans. Perhaps you may want to talk to us about access to this venue. How many people do we expect into the dome? Of course, being a hero, being a general from this area, you'd see the people of this particular village, Nia village and the neighboring village, plus the entire county and Nyanza region would want to come and access. Perhaps in terms of the logistical plans, how many people will you let in and in what order?
So, because this is an open celebration, we are not restricting access to this venue. Of course, we've made proper seating arrangements so that as people come, then they are able to be seated. Within the dome, we have a capacity of slightly over 2,000 seated. But then outside the main dome, we've made provisions for another 2,000 to 3,000 to also be seated. Yeah, and if you look at the compound as it is, it's pretty big enough to take in all those. We have also locationed screens all over, so that those who are not closer to the podium would still be able to view the proceedings. I'm aware that there are also live feeds for those who may not be physically present here to follow the proceedings online. Yes.
And final question, even as we let you go, and this is away from the program. You said that you spoke to the Chief of the Defense Force on that ill-fated morning before the crash. And you sat with him in planning how to solve the menace in the North Rift, Operation Maliza Uhalifu, because it is a joint operation between the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Interior. And President William Ruto, in his speech yesterday, described General Ogolla as a consummate military officer, perhaps as one who had that advantage of sitting with him in the boardrooms, planning for this, and even going to the field together. What was General Ogolla's view, and what would be his wish about the situation that currently the country is dealing with in that particular region, as we let you go, PS?
I think we definitely did have several discussions now, particularly with the situation in the North Rift. The clarity of mind was there, and this is right from the Commander-in-Chief in terms of how we needed to deal with the banditry and caste rustling in the North Rift. And on that fateful day, what the general was going to do was not just to fight bandits using bullets and all that. He was on an inspection tour of schools, because the challenge in the North Rift with banditry is that you have a situation where schools are closed, meaning kids are not going to school. while everybody else across every other child across the country is going to school. So we're looking at this also as being able to give everybody a fair chance at life, particularly through education, and we all know the power of education. And these are some of the things that he was passionate about. In his private capacity, he sponsored so many students through schooling. Now, there was also the issue around infrastructure. And the infrastructure went beyond building schools. We are looking at rehabilitating roads. So through that coordination between the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Defense, we also roped in the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Health, and we had developed the master plan of beyond silencing the guns in the North Rift, on working on the infrastructure, the social amenities, hospitals, and all that. So this was a grand scheme of things that the General was looking forward to actualizing. Yes, and that's how passionate he was about this.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, PS Raymond Omollo. Raymond Omollo there, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior, speaking to us about the plans that are there in terms of laying to rest the late Chief of the Defense Force, General Francis Ogolla. He says that in terms of accommodating people here, the dome that we are in will be hosting about 2,000 to 3,000 people with an outside arrangement of more than 3,000 people. It is quite a big compound at the Senator Obama Kogelo Primary School, where this particular burial ceremony will be happening. We are still live here, and like I said, we will be speaking to our teams from across this region, Ouko Okusa, Zacchaeus Mwasame. But remember, it is the final journey of Kenya's military chief, General Francis Ogolla. Like I said, just a recap, he will be laid to rest some 6 or 7 kilometers from here at his home in Ngia village, because all the other activities, the church service, and the military exercise will happen from here at the Senator Obama Kogelo Primary School. And right now I'm joined by Roslyn Obala.